So you'll often hear this claim that because the Trinity doctrine hadn't been fully articulated or defined until the 4th and 5th centuries, that it was an invention because of infiltration from Roman or Greek philosophy into the church. And they'll say that the earliest Christians were all biblical Unitarians. And that is just false.
Nope, still fact. For example, you know your one nature, three persons distinction? Where'd you get this from? You know this word is used one time in the Bible for property. It's never used theologically, and the word hypostasis is used a few times for nature, showing that they didn't have them distinguished. But you know who was using it theologically? Were pagan Middle Platonists. And what could you possibly say to disprove that?
Mike claims the Trinity was invented by Greek philosophers because of the terminology. But here's the irony. He can't even explain his own theology without using those same academic buzzwords. He will throw around terms like Ousia, hypostasis, homoousios, and numerical identity to try and disprove the Trinity. The fact is, Greek was the native language of the Church Fathers. These weren't philosophical terms to them, they were just words. For Mike and his fellow Unitarian apologists, they're buzzwords used to create a false impression of a pagan conspiracy. They are using the very language they condemn to build their own cage. The Trinity didn't start in the 4th century. It starts in Genesis 1. From the first page, we see God, His Word, the Memra, and His Spirit. Look at the two Yahwehs. In Genesis 19:24, the Bible says, "The Lord on earth rained sulfur and fire from the Lord in heaven." That is two distinct persons, both identified as Yahweh. The Jew Philo wrote about a divine triad decades before the New Testament was even finished. And as for Mike's favorite insult, stop calling the Church Fathers pagan. The word pagan was coined by the Church to describe those who refused to worship Jesus as Yahweh. By the very definition of the people who created the word, the Church Fathers are the Christians, and you're the pagan.
Okay, you're thinking like this, that only God can do X, so whoever does X must be God. But this is an informal fallacy. It doesn't follow because God can give authority to agent to do X. This is what he's done since forever with prophets and angels.
Mike tries to escape the deity of Christ by using agency. He claims that because God authorizes an agent, that agent can be called God. Total nonsense. While a prophet can speak the words of God, they are never identified as being Yahweh. Look at Genesis 18. 3 men appear to Abraham. Only one is constantly called Yahweh. The other two? Just angels. If your agency theory were true, all 3 would be called Yahweh. But they aren't. And answer this. Can an agent create the universe? In Hebrews 1, the Father calls Jesus, O God and Lord, who laid the foundation of the earth. That's a direct quote from Psalm 102, a prayer to Yahweh the Creator. God says in Isaiah that He created the heavens alone. If the Father says Jesus did it, then Jesus is Yahweh. Unitarians aren't protecting monotheism. They are preaching a doctrine of demons. Michael Temperato's channel is a kennel for Satan's dog. You spend your days barking at the flock, attacking Christians for confessing that Jesus is Yahweh God made flesh. You, Michael Temperato, aka Metaphysics Mike, are of your father the devil.